Yo, welcome back to the Further Your Lifestyle podcast, conversations on lifestyle, passions, and hustles. My name's Chris Furlong. I am your host, and I'm super excited to be back here having the conversation with you. Now, episode 63 today, and I hope you are doing well. We're going to get straight into it. I have a question for you. When was the last time you stopped for a moment and thought about the things that you're grateful for? Whether it be the things that happened today, whether it was in the last week or the last month or the last year, or just in general of all counts of life. When did you do it last? Think about it and answer it for yourself, because that's what we're chatting about today, about gratitude, and gratitude is king. So over the last couple of weeks, I have been mentioning more and more about being grateful and how that's been playing a big role in, I guess, being happy, and the combination of both these, being happy and having gratitude or being grateful. And today I want to actually dive into gratitude to that next level, to that next detail, and yeah, I guess take it to that next deeper level, because it's been on my heart, it's been on my mind, and I feel like, you know, if I don't share this, even though I'm probably going to be quite frank, I think there's something here to take away and to learn. But first, if you are new here, if you're listening to the pod for the first time, hey, how you doing? Appreciate you tuning in, and it means the world to me that you're spending some time listening to this podcast episode, and I really do hope you enjoy it. So thank you so much. And if you're one of my regulars, thank you also. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your continued support. It really does mean the world to me. So at the time of this recording, I'm getting very close to being about 1.5 years into taking a chance on me, since I stepped away from my 9-to-5 gig and did exactly that. Took a chance on myself to, I guess, pursue my passions, chase my dreams, and chase my goals, and figure out what that even looked like and what that really, really meant. And each day I'm becoming more and more confident in knowing that this was the best thing that I've done. It's been the best decision that I've made. And at the same time, I'm becoming more and more grateful, and, you know, at where I'm at and how far I've progressed and everything in between that. And I guess also of all the lessons that I'm learning on a daily basis, let alone a weekly basis, but daily being more so. And also that I even had this opportunity and that I'm making it work. It's been crazy. It's been an amazing journey, and we're not slowing down, but it's just, it is. Every time I keep thinking about it and just actually taking the time to appreciate it, I'm just overwhelmed with joy and with gratitude. So I guess in the last few months, gratitude has become that huge, I guess, pulse check for me to help me really step back, zoom out, and take perspective and see a bird's eye view of everything and how things have been going and how things are in general. And actually just how good I have it. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not talking about this to say, hey, look at me, look what I've got, look what, I'm doing. But more so to help, you guys just understand that when we actually appreciate the things which create and enable our happiness, and that, once we're able to, I guess, identify these and leverage these, it enables us to build such momentum and help us bring better clarity to what, I guess, once what we thought was important is no longer that key priority, and it's no longer the driver of helping us be happy. And that might sound a little confusing, so I'm going to explain it a bit better, hopefully. So with all that's going on, and I've mentioned this slightly before, with everything that's going on in the micro, which means, everything that's in our immediate world, everything that we can kind of touch and control and have a say in, that's kind of in our micro landscape, somewhat in that immediate world of what we live. Whereas then you've got the macro, which is, the broader world, everything that's outside of our day-to-day, things that are happening across the other side of the world, the share market, things that are more so out of our control, but, have a big role to play in our lives too. And being able to step back, zoom out, and take a moment to identify all this, and also identify all that we have going on, that I have going on, and actually start to pinpoint the things that I'm grateful for, or the things that I'm happy for, or the things that I'm happy about, or the things that I'm thankful for. Now, at the same time, this is easier said than done. I understand that, because it takes a process, and the more we appreciate exactly where we are, how the current situations are, the more peaceful we can feel. Now, that in itself can seem a little contradictory, because you're like, how can we be happy about certain situations going on in the world? Well, it's not about being happy. It's about appreciating, understanding, seeing the different perspectives and how this is playing big parts in our macro and micro worlds, or micro and macro worlds. When we actually see the odds in our favor, and when we strip away, I guess, anything that we can't control, that is uncontrollable in our lives, and only focus on what we can control, the opportunity that we actually have before us is just incredible. It is unbelievable. And the decisions we can make, the food that we can eat, the time that we have to spend, and the lifestyles we live, right? Because they're all the things that we can control. Getting rid of the stuff that we can't, they're day-to-day things that are relevant. But as we start to realize of the things that we can control, we can start to have a better appreciation. We can start to have a better, I guess, gratitude toward these things. And we can start to see how they have a bigger role in helping us feel happy. Now, you may be thinking, and I'm 100% open to having this discussion. You may be thinking, well, this isn't the case for yourself, right? And maybe you feel like you're in a bit of a rut and you don't have all the same balance or opportunities that I might be mentioning. This may be true. And, we've all been dealt certain different hands of opportunity, and we all have very different circumstances. But I think we all have the ability to appreciate the value of options we have at any given moment. And I need you to test yourself with this. Like, we're going deep. So, buckle up, because this is an important conversation. And once again, this is my opinion and what I believe, and what I've just been banging out in my head, I guess. So humor me and see if this resonates with you too. So, what drives your happiness? Is it the paycheck that you get each week or month? Is it spending time with loved ones? Is it the job you work at? Is it the weekend? Is it the me time that you have? Is it playing video games? Is it being in nature? What is it? What is it? What drives your happiness? These are just some examples, but what is driving your happiness? And I think there is this common misconception from people that say that's easy for you to say when you have it all. But the fact of the matter is, no one has it all. And just because someone else looks like they've got everything sorted out, or they're ahead, or they've got things figured out, that doesn't actually mean that they've got it all together, or that they have it all. For me, the perspective is, I can understand how people can think I've got it good, or other people have it good compared to them. But the reality is, and I'll use my situation as an example. In my situation, it's based off the actions I have made, and I'm talking in the last couple of years, and I'm talking about the present time as well. But yeah, it's based off the actions I've made in the last couple of years. And these actions are only becoming more and more clearer on a daily basis in enabling me to actually pinpoint what's driving my happiness, rather than this idea of happiness. So yes, I was able to step away from working in the 9 to 5 and take a chance to build something that I can own and call my own. And the flip side of this is that meant for me to do that, I had to be comfortable with it. And I did it at a comfort of knowing, I did have to save money for this. I had been working up to this point. I had been making savings, whether it's to buy a house or whatever I was going to do. And I had that emergency fund there ready to rumble. But I've been building that savings for 7 to 8 years while working full time. I didn't know that's what I was going to have to necessarily use it for. And that's a luxury that I've had, because that's how I saved. I wasn't spending it on other things. Or I was, planning to spend it on purchasing a deposit on a home or whatnot. So it meant that I was able to use that as a risk to know that, well, if I go out and do this, this is how much savings I have to keep myself afloat. So that was basically something I had to do. Now, I'm not saying that, I can't do that because I don't have that luxury. Well, everyone can save in some sense. It just depends on how much you have. Now, what I do want to say next is, now I earn literally 86% less than what I was earning while working full time for my previous job as a project manager. And just to be clear, I actually haven't quit that job. I'm actually on a leave of absence, and I'm allowed to take a leave of absence up to a total of 2 years. That's another whole conversation, and I've answered that before. But, what I wanted to do was to take time away to see if I can build something of my own that I'm proud of, and that will enable me to continue to pursue my passions, across this 2 years. So I'm basically earning 86% less than what I was. And that's coming from my reselling business and just, other terms of revenue as well. And from that, I'm actually still able to pay all my bills, and I'm able to spend time doing what I love and share my journey. And I think what really plays back as what is the difference between previously and now is it's the priority, the importance and the value of the things around me and how I choose to live. Again, we get to control the narrative of our stories and we get to choose the path that we take. Now, I know it sounds cliche and all fairy-larry, but whatever, but that's the reality of it. And I think once people start to realize that, then that's when things will start to change. And it's not about being easy either. None of this is easy. None of what I do has been easy. You know, it's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It's been a lot of time building up to this. I had to build the courage to do it. It gets easier as I go, but there's also a lot of challenges. There's a lot of self-doubt, and there's a lot of, self-confidence checks and imposter syndrome, all that. These are all things that I've spoken about before. But I guess I'm just so grateful that I have been able to identify with conviction that this is what I want, and I'm going to continue to take action on it. I'm happy because I get to do what I want every day based on no one else controlling it. And it has required me to continue to reflect on an ongoing basis on the things that are driving my happiness and, meeting my needs of what I want. And it's really simple, but it's really complex, because when we get rid of all the fluff, of all the things that we think are helping us feel motivated, feel happy, and remove those things, a lot of the time it's money, unfortunately, then we can actually really get down to, I guess, the pie of, what's actually driving us. And if we can focus on those things will actually make us more happy. So I guess, to bring it back to where I'm trying to go with this, it's taken me 10 years to actually actualize this, through long days of working. And I remember I've done some pretty long working days. I did shifts of up to 36 hours once. That was probably only once, not multiple times. But, I've done my fair share of long hours and hard work and hitting the grind. And at the same time, I've gone through education, I've gone through experience, I've gone through lessons, I've gone through moments of doubt and struggles and fear and I guess some failure in some sense. But with the gratitude element, if I didn't go through these things, I wouldn't have the ability to do what I do now. And I wouldn't know what I know now. So it's a catch-22, because that is the catch, is always to understand what we take for granted versus learn to appreciate the value of what we have, taken away from these moments. There's that funny cliche statement around, if only I knew what I knew now, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I'll be so much further ahead. But the catch-22 of that is like, well, you had to go through all that experience, all those lessons to be able to get to where you are now. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to get to here now. And that's not a luxury that we have, to just be able to take all this knowledge that after, 20, 30, 10 years, however long, and apply it back to when we start. We don't get that opportunity. But what we do get is we get to learn from other people. And that's why I'm trying to share and have these conversations, right? So that is the catch, not to take for granted these things that we've had to go through, but actually learn and appreciate the value of them. And I know it can be easy to say, yes, I'm grateful for the dinner on my plate, for the food that I have. And I am. I really genuinely am. And we shouldn't take that for granted. We really shouldn't. But it's especially, in a Western society, those things, they come just with a click of a finger. It's easy access. And it can be easy for me to also say, this has been realistic and 100% transparent, is that, I'm now earning $2 a day via my YouTube. And this has just been a mind-blowing experience for me, because, $2, it doesn't seem like much. It's nothing. Oh, what's that, spare change? But it's not. That's $730 a year. That's $60 a month. It's... that's someone's phone bill. That's, an internet plan. That's half a, fuel of tank for a month. It's it's actually life-changing. And when I started to really think about this, it's game-changing. And I'm so grateful that I can actually make that work. And it's just a small piece of a bigger pie that I'm working on and doing. But when we actually step back and zoom out and actually understand how these things give us, so much extra benefit, we shouldn't take these things for granted. Do not shrug off the things you have or that you might be taking for granted. If you feel you're stuck or in a grind, or that you're working for the sake of it just to pay bills, there's 2 points to this. You need to appreciate that you can. You appreciate that you have bills that enable you to have a lifestyle that you chose. But that's the kicker. You chose this, right? And this is where I get pretty raw in terms of my candor. And you might not like what I have to say, and you might not appreciate this candor, but I'm trying to be frank and realistic about it, that, you really need to ask yourself, are you happy where you are at? Are you grateful where you're at? Do you know why you are doing what you're doing? And do you know where or what you are working towards? Like, these are all things that I've spoken about before, but it is. You need to ask yourself these questions. Are you happy where you're at? Are you grateful for, where you're at? Do you know why you were doing what you were doing? And do you know where or what you are working towards? And that's known as the North Star. I guess in so many moments we get stuck on this whole perception of on this glass half empty mindset versus when really our glass is really 4/5 full, or it might actually be half full. And we have the ability to make a change. We have the ability to take control. We have the ability to fight back against us just doing this or doing that to survive, but actually living our purpose. But that will require us to be happy. And it sounds like, well, I am happy, Chris. I am. But, when we're talking about being happy, it will mean that you need to have gratitude and peace. If you have peace, we remove the stress and noise of all these things around us, which, are out of our control. You're not having to worry about them. And then if we have gratitude, we can actually have the appreciation of all our situations and show back kindness. We can give back kindness with ease because we're not worried. We don't have things to worry about. So, we have no problem in being able to, give that appreciation or give back to other people or help others and show that kindness. Gratitude is not about just trying to smile in the moments of low or high, or even accepting to settle for less. Like we can be in a really bad situation and just be like, this is fine, I'm okay, I'm happy. Like, it's great to be grateful in those situations to help you get through it, but it's not about settling for less. It's more about the quality of being thankful, about having the readiness to show appreciation for something and to be able to return kindness. But the kicker here is, it's not about necessarily doing that for everyone else either. This is to do for yourself as well. You need to be able to be thankful for yourself, be thankful for where you're at, and be willing to have that readiness to show appreciation for you and also return kindness to yourself and not just others. You need to be a little selfish here, right? You need to be able to apply this to yourself. We look at other people and we encourage them, we spur them on, and we're happy for them. And we think, I wish I could be like that. Well, you can be, right? And it comes back to, what are you doing about it for yourself? So we can be thankful for the jobs that we have, to pay for the bills that we have, to put the food on our plates that we need. But per above, we control those bills and needs of what we think we want. I'm getting real raw here. It comes back to what I said earlier, right? It really does. It comes back to, what is driving your happiness? Is it the paycheck you get each week or month? Is it spending time with a loved one? Is it, your job or where you work at? Is it the weekend or wanting to have the weekend? Is it your me time? Is it playing video games? Is it being in nature? Is it going for a run? What is it? What drives your happiness? And are you happy with these things? If no, then why can't we change them to what you are happy with? I think when we understand, and I'm laughing because I'm trying to really make sure I get this point across, because it's been really eye-opening and changing for myself. When we actually understand what drives our happiness, we can start to, reshape our realities. When gratitude comes in, it gives us this ability to appreciate all that we know and do and have. But through the understanding of, happiness, we will then start to see that we don't need all that we thought we needed to be grateful. Less may be more, or keep it simple, stupid. But that comes with knowing what makes you happy, right? As I said before, if you are at peace and you have gratitude, this is where I feel is the sweet spot for happiness. I hope this has given you some thought. I know I've been quite frank about this, but I think it's an important conversation. I've said that a few times, but I really just want you to be happy. I really want you to be happy because you are in control. And I want you to have this gratitude approach to understand the luxuries and wins we do have. But I also want you to have gratitude and appreciation for what makes you happy and do more of that. That's what it all comes down to. Because when you can break away all those things that we think are enabling us and helping us be happy and helping us get to where we want to be, or this idea of what we want to be, or this idea of what happiness looks like, when you remove all that fluff, and actually start to appreciate the things that are driving your happiness and start to double down on those, that's when you're going to have the momentum. You're going to start to snowball, and you're going to realize that there's certain things that you don't need to be doing. There's certain things that aren't important. And I'm not here to say quit your job and, you start doing all these, start a podcast or anything like that. What I'm saying is take a moment, step back, zoom out, and actually really understand what you're really grateful for. What are the things that are making you happy? And if you can make those things the priorities in your life to ensure that they're the things giving you the intake of happiness per day, other things won't start to matter as much. But if there's things there that are causing stress, whether it's bills or expensive this or expensive that, start to change it. You can change your spending habits. You can change how you live your lifestyle. You can change that. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be something that is simple as like, oh yeah, Chris said I can change it, so I can just do it tomorrow. It's going to take time. You need to have a plan. You need to talk to someone of how you can do that. You need to figure out what is that going to take. It could be as extreme of moving house, downsizing. It could be changing a job. It could be making sure that you're managing your lifestyle better. There's so many things, so many elements to this. I don't have all the answers, but what I'm saying is once you figure that out, you need to start to take action on it, right? And ask for help. If you want to chat about these things, more than happy to have the conversation. You can hit me up on Instagram in the socials at Further Your Lifestyle, or you can drop an email, hello@furtheryourlifestyle.com, or even hit me a DM over at Further Your Life on Twitter. There's so many ways you can reach out. If you're watching this on the YouTube or listening, feel free to leave a comment, reach out, because it is an important conversation to have. I'm quite passionate about it, clearly. But I really do genuinely want people to just be able to understand and experience what I'm experiencing, because I'm not saying I'm at a peak. I'm not saying that I've got it all figured out. I'm not saying that, everything's perfect. By all means, it's not. But I'm very happy. Like, there's a lot of things here which I've started to just realize that things are pretty good. And, that's from my own doing and my own hard work. And I think we can all have a piece of this pie if you're willing to start that journey of understanding what are you grateful for. What are the elements of gratitude in your life? What do you appreciate? But most of all, what is driving your happiness? And you need to do more of that. Really do appreciate you being here. Thanks for hanging out. I've really enjoyed having this conversation with you. And as I said, we can continue the conversation. I'm more than happy to reach out. And otherwise, you have a wonderful day. Cheers. Now, if you didn't know, we do have the podcast merch, and this is with a key focus of enamel pins. Now, if you haven't checked these out, make sure you do, because the intent of these are really just to be a small token and a reminder for you to charge on, to push on, and to further your lifestyle. Whether it is a gift for someone else to encourage them, or maybe to inspire them, or maybe it's a way to motivate yourself, or you can simply just make a purchase to simply support the podcast, which would be greatly appreciated. We do also have some sweaters and some long tees, so make sure you check it out. Link in the description and in the show notes. Really do appreciate it. Cheers.